Hey, good morning, everybody. I want to talk to you about a topic that keeps coming up over and over and over again. It's like this conversation of what if you don't know that you're even cut out to be an entrepreneur, or what if you're thinking right now, like possibly it's time to like try something else or do something else with your life, because entrepreneurship is definitely challenging, and entrepreneurship is not cut out for everyone. Well, first of all, I will share this with you. I don't know. I mean, I think there's some people who are born as entrepreneurs and they know for sure, like I'm an entrepreneur. And then there's other people who have just been really bad employees and they've never been able to sit back and be a part of a team. They always need to be leading it. And if they're not leading it, they don't feel congruent. And so that's some indicators whether or not you're entrepreneur or your team. I'm really flexible, meaning that I can be on a team or I can lead a team. I like doing both. I mean, I can get behind somebody else's vision and that excites me to help them create that result. And then like I can also, spearhead my own vision because I have foresight. So let me break this down for you a little bit. So a great example of an entrepreneur, a great entrepreneur, is having vision. And I'm going to break down what vision really means. So vision means that when you see a path, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's the path that excites you all the time, but you see the right path, and then it doesn't matter what gets in between. You will always find a way to create that result. So for instance, when I was growing my business and cash flow was very, very tight, and I was, I needed every dollar that I had to be able to, not only build the business and pay for my coach and pay for, virtual assistants and all of that type of stuff. I also had the foresight of going, my mom, like I'm my mom's only daughter. And so I had the foresight to say, at some point, I knew I would have a family, so that's visionary stuff. And I'll show you how this works in business as well. But at some point, I knew I'd have a family. At some point, I suspected I would have children. But I still was financially strapped. And being my mom's only daughter, I knew that if something happened to her, that her life would weigh on my future family. I'm talking like years ago that this happened, like many years ago. So put into account, and I want you to think about your vision or whatever you're seeing right now. You got to put into account no money, only child, no support, and someday I didn't even have a boyfriend. Someday I was going to have a family, and I needed to think about my mom's health later on in life and to make sure that I could take care of her. And not because I had this calling that I thought that I should take care of her. It never came from that vision. It came from the foresight of seeing the breakdowns that could happen later and risk management along the way, making the right decisions to create the cash flow to keep the life and the vision growing. So I still didn't even know if I was necessarily an entrepreneur. But back then, what I started to do is I started to research, what do I do to support my mom? What do I do to take care of her? And I started taking out, I took out an insurance policy on her. And I took out an insurance policy on my mother when I was, I don't even know how old. But I did it to make sure that this future family I had, future children I had, future life I had, it wasn't going to impact my life when something happened to my mom someday in the future. This is like things that entrepreneurs do. They don't just think about the immediate. They actually take risks, financial risks. You got to think how unselfish that had to have been for me to, I had no money. And I took a policy that was about $1,400 a month that I paid into. Or no, it was $1,200 a month that I paid into. And that was pretty close to almost my rent at the time, And so I share this with you because there's skill sets that if you do want to be a great entrepreneur, entrepreneurs do crazy things. They take out insurance policies on their parents to make sure that they're okay later on in life. They invest in coaches that sometimes they can't afford right now because they can see how it's going to monetize out. and then they do whatever it takes to be able to create that result. They become obsessed with one major thing. This is an important piece. If you get distracted growing a business, like I think the thing I did really well is that I did get bored growing my business. I did want to start new products and programs, building my business, but I didn't. I stuck with a program called Sapphire back then, which is now called Pace Private. It went from Sapphire to Pace Club to Pace Private, and it evolves. And honestly, yesterday, my husband and I were driving to go see his parents, and I was sharing with him the next evolution of Pace Private and what we're doing. And I said, I don't know if I will ever stop improving this program. So there's things that I'm going to add into Pace Private that are with things that are changing in the world, and things with traffic, and things that can catapult some of their list builds to, 10x them truly. But I'm testing them right now, and I want to make sure that they all work right before I put it into Pace Private. And so it's like that innovation. So I don't want to confuse you, but I want you to realize what type of an entrepreneur you are. And there's a new entrepreneur coming onto the landscape. So you've got a purpose-driven entrepreneur, which is what I am, and which is most of my clients. And that's why we teach from the standpoint of you have these pressure moment points in your life that things were hard. And those are the things that you can create a business around that are highly lucrative. And the reason why I like that is because I 86 most of the uncertainty. If somebody will follow my coaching. They'll sell something that is not brand new. They will sell something that they've had a lifetime of experience around. And then you have the serial entrepreneur who doesn't care at all about what it is they sell. They just, as long as it works and it solves a major problem, they want to build to sell, build to sell, build to sell. People come to me all the time. Ever since I've been in Inc. as one of the fastest growing coaching companies right now in North America, it's I have venture capitalists reach out to me and send me messages and see how interested I am about possibly selling the company. Now, selling a company gives you much more cash. So this is something purpose-driven entrepreneurs don't know about. If you sell companies, you actually get, let's say 5 times, often it's 3 to 5 times the amount of money that your entire company is worth. And so you get a massive cash injection into your life, which is why a lot of people there's people I can't say because you've probably followed them, but even doctors I know, they'll build amazing books out and companies out. And then they have, I have a friend right now who's a great doctor, and he's having a hard time selling to the venture capitalists because he knows that the company will change. And he knows what he does is so important. And then there's that moment. But he made a commitment to himself when the company got to, if he could sell the company for 40 million, that would really impact his family and his extended family. So he's thinking legacy, right? He's like, it impacts my immediate family, it impacts my kids, it impacts my grandkids. And now I know that I can take care of all that legacy. And so, but he's still having a hard time because he's also purpose driven. But that also goes into serial entrepreneurism, because chances are when he sells the company, he won't be able to, or he won't be able to stop. He'll probably do something else. I have another friend who sold their company for over 300 million, and now they're I don't know how many years, 5, 6, 8 years later, they're now getting back into the market because they're young. They're in their 40s and they want to get back into the market and they want to make a difference, but now they're uber purpose driven. Now, those are the 2 entrepreneurs that have been traditionally on the marketplace. Now, there's a new entrepreneur coming out, and that's the entrepreneur that really just wants to replace a job. And it's an interesting entrepreneur because they think that there's freedom in being an entrepreneur, but they don't really want to work that hard, but they don't want to get a job. And so they might have good work ethic, but when it and I run into this entrepreneur all the time. They used to make me angry. Now they don't make me angry. Now I see them and I understand them, but they used to make me angry because I'm so purpose driven. That when this entrepreneur that just wants to replace a job gets to a certain financial level, they don't want to sell anymore and they don't want to expand. They just want to keep it small, which small could be $500,000 and could be $1 million, but their vision stops there. It stops with them. And that's because the growth part is really hard. And the scaling can be really hard. You have moments in time. I would honestly say your first 100,000 can often be really challenging for many people. Then it gets pretty easy. And then $1 million gets challenging again because your profit margins go down. You can't understand, how am I making more money, but my profit margins are going down. And then I think at about 5 million, I think the stretch from $1 million to 4.5 million is like really fun. It's like little challenges, like growing a sales team, getting some leaders in your company, but they're not like keep you up in the middle of the night type things, at least not for long, maybe for like a week or two, like nothing major. Now there's like the stretch I'm going on now, and it feels very out of control because it's like the company's growing so fast. It's like now I have to literally say to myself, and this is a key for anybody who gets overwhelmed, I choose to not get overwhelmed, and I don't remember the last time I got overwhelmed, but I know it's because of this. I caught myself last night even. I was like, holy cow, like I have like almost 50 emails that need to be written in the next like 3.5 weeks. Plus I have my clients, plus I have my Voxer, my 1% clients, plus I have Zone Event. By the way, Zone Event's open right now. You can save about $300, over $300 on a ticket right now if you go to thezoneevent.com. That's open right now. So Zone Event's ramping up. We're adding, sometimes like 3 people a month to our company that I don't necessarily know, or I'm onboarding myself, somebody else is. And it's just like, and now we're gearing up. I'm starting to think about who's the team for the New York Times bestseller. It's insane, right? And so I literally go in my head and I say, worry is a sin. Worry is a sin, Shanda. Worry is a sin. Like, you're just going to stay in the step you're in. And then, the next step's going to come up. And then here's where I went in my head yesterday. I said, whenever you don't know about something, you're not stressed about it. So if there's things that are happening around you that you don't know about, you don't get stressed about it until you know it was broken or it broke. And then there's like a stress level. So literally, I just pretend like I don't know about some of the things coming down the pipeline, and I stay on the step I'm in. Like that was like my little hack yesterday. I was like, there's things that I don't know about, or that I do know about, but I don't even know how I'm going to deal with it yet. So I'm just going to pretend like I don't know about it right now. And I have about I probably have about 5 notebooks going right now where I'm like, okay, this is the marketing notebook. This is the email table of contents workbook, so that because I'm thinking about everything I'm doing, I want to give it to my marketing mastery clients so that they can just have it easier than I'm having it, and give them the table of contents so that they can see a campaign and all the emails written with it, because everything I do, I want to give it to them too. And this is the funny thing is, like, they won't all use it, which is crazy because I'm like, there's so much path that gets going, but there's a group that will use it and they'll crush it, right? Anyway, so I just want to share that with you so that, like I've got all these notebooks going on just to manage my mind so that I can stay in the step I'm in and I know what notebook to go to when I'm working on the next thing. And this is what it really looks like. When I remember that I need to go work on, let's say, a leadership newsletter, which is something that we need to start doing inside of our company. When I remember it, I go to the leadership notebook, and then I got my next set of visions that need to get done. And then what I do is I start thinking about, okay, Lisa can write that, Judith can write that, Michael can do a video on that. And then I take that to, our head of coaching, our VP of coaching, and I say, here's some of the things I'm going to start doing. Are there any? And I start building out that campaign with people around me so it doesn't end up being me. Then it goes to the copywriter writes, I look at everything, and that's where the control's happening that I have to get out of, looking at everything, because I want to make sure it's in our culture and our voice. So now I got to find somebody who can look at everything, which might be Gene Bills, to look at everything, or maybe we can divide and conquer and look at everything so that things cannot bottleneck, because obviously our volume is getting so high. So I just wanted to share that with you because I know that you're facing what you're facing growing your business. And I know that there can be some times where it feels like taxes and you don't want to do it. But I can promise you, if you can start breaking it up into the step you're in and not worrying, like I know it's really easy to think that, 8-figure companies, never would have thought that I'd get there, right? Like, it's like, would have thought that like 8-figure companies have everything like a venture capitalist asked me the other day, which no, I'm not selling my company and I'm not in that mode, but a good friend of mine is a venture capitalist. He said, give me all of your marketing. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, my marketing's all over the place. It's not structured like, it's like, I can give you what we're doing right now, you know what I mean? And what we're working on right now, but I got my 5 notebooks. And so I think hopefully that will help, like I know a New York Times bestseller right now that because she's big right now. And I know that her whole back end, they have no support, but yet there's over 1.4 million people following on Instagram and 10,000 people coming to an event, but the back end is not supported. Do you know what I mean? Where my back end's completely built out. It's like, who cares where each of us are at is what I'm saying. It's like, there's no perfect system. And if you think you're going to put it into this perfect system, you're on crack because that's just not how it works. It works as an entrepreneur, it works where you see things and then you start executing a project and you do everything you can to just focus on that project until you get to the finish line. And then when your crazy ideas come up, you got to put it in other notebooks so that you can go back to those notebooks. And I know you'd like to, I hear this from my clients all the time. They come into VIP days and they're like, give me the perfect plan that I could just follow forever. And I'm like, that's not an entrepreneur. That is a project manager. And there should be somebody on your team that does that. But that is not how an entrepreneur builds. And if you build like that, honestly, you probably don't have the vision that you need completely to be an entrepreneur. If you're chaotic as F, chaotic as fuck, then you're probably an entrepreneur. So let's just take a deep breath. You're probably in the right spot if that's how you build. You're probably in the right spot. If you build like a project manager, could definitely be the 3rd entrepreneur that replaces your job. But please don't think that replacing your job means that you have ultimate freedom, because the ultimate freedom probably would happen more if you were in a structure of a team that you really enjoyed the culture and you could make yourself invaluable with the results that you could produce, which means that you just have to become a better negotiator on your time and how you run your time. So I hope that this helped. Does this help you guys? Knowing where you fall and where you fall, and so that you don't think that you need to be somebody that you're not, and that you could fit into the slot that you should be at, so that you don't try and turn yourself inside out like women do when they meet a guy that they think is super uber hot, and they turn themselves inside out, and then the guy that's super uber hot doesn't like them anymore because they just became somebody that they're not. I'm trying to prevent you from doing that in entrepreneurship, where you turn yourself inside out trying to become Brendan Burchard, or trying to become Shanda Sumpter, or trying to become Suzanne Evans, or trying to become, Dean Graziosi. It's like, what if you could just be yourself and look at the areas inside your life that you're working on right now and start moving that forward. And the last thing I'll say is go get a zone ticket. September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. We're going to be in Palm Springs. You can get a ticket for $300,000-$400,000 less than what they're going to be. So there's early bird tickets right now. But go get a ticket, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the kimono of my whole entire entrepreneurial life, and I'm going to take from when I wrote my business on a napkin inside of a restaurant in Las Vegas, and how that napkin became, a six-figure business to a multiple 6 to a 7 very quickly. I went from a medium multiple 6-figure company to 7 figures, and then scaled massively for that. I'm going to show how I did it all the way to the point where I'm at today, and what you need to think about all the way along. And imagine this: every day at the zone event, you're going to see the progressiveness go, and you're going to be able to pick up whether you're starting new products or services or starting new divisions inside your company or visions to expand your company, or you're just starting or trying to figure out how to get the cash flow along the way. You're going to see how I picked up cash flow along the way so that I could have not only the energy, but the confidence and the security to be able to keep running and keep growing what it is that I grew. So go get a zone event ticket, and I'm just super excited to spend this week with you guys. So let's crush it this week. Let's be graceful while we crush it. And if you just started tuning into This Coffee with Shanda, please go back and listen to the 3 different styles of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs to see where you fit so that you don't turn yourself inside out to be an entrepreneur that maybe you're not, and you can settle into the one that you are so that you could just have a much more peaceful life as you grow out. I will leave you on this note. I have been able to maintain the growth of the company, with still taking off 5.5 months a year. And I say that humbly. I'm seeing my friend Allison Maslin do, Instagram videos from Mexico saying she now takes off the last week of every month, which is something that I was encouraging her to do for a year. So I love seeing the ripple effect online of people who thought that they couldn't grow their companies without taking off, all of this time. And the truth is you absolutely can. You absolutely can. You just need to learn how to manage your mind a little differently and manage the things that you work on so that you're not spending You're not spending money in the areas you shouldn't be. I've seen more people create 6-week programs. I've seen more people basically create products and services and offerings and models that give them money now that drive them into the ground like a year from now. And so I want to help you not do that. And a great way to learn that from us is to be tuning into Coffees with Shanda or to talk to one of our coaches about joining Pace Private. All right, you guys, I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.